Am I the asshole? My 28M wife, 27F, got offended while I was trying to reassure her. This morning, my wife was getting dressed to go speak at a career panel at her old high school. She was panicking about what to wear. She asked me to use a Tide bleach pen on a white blazer to get a stain out, which I did, but then she realized it looked too ostentatious and decided against it. Then she realized she didn't have anything except a gray blazer and black dress pants and a green top. When she came downstairs to show me her outfit, I enthusiastically told her that she looked good, but she wasn't convinced and said that the pants and blazer didn't match very well. Then I tried to compliment her again and then she asked me not to lie to her. I tried to be as constructive as possible and said, "Don't worry, we can look into getting you matching pants, blazers soon," which I think went over well. Then I made her a coffee and she started to leave. But then when she was walking out the door, I told her, "Remember, they're there for what you say, not for how you look," and she just stared at me like I cut her with a knife. As she was walking to her car she turned and said, "Geez, I didn't think I looked that bad," and walked away. I tried to clarify, but she wasn't having any of it. I was just trying to reassure her that the students wouldn't judge her for her clothes, a tad wishful, I suppose, and would only care about what she has to say, but it appears my message was lost. Am I the asshole? Remember, they're there for what you say, not for how you look. I know you meant well, but many women will translate this to mean, you don't look that good, but that's okay because they're there for what you have to say. I would suggest talking to her and saying you noticed she looked upset and that wasn't your intention. Ask her what you could have said instead to make her feel better. You are not the asshole. Remember, they're there for what you say, not for how you look. You are a bit of an idiot though. Next time, tell the person as they are leaving that they will be great. Send them out with 100% confidence, even if it is not true. Dude, have you never been to high school? She will be judged for what she's wearing because that's just how teenage high schoolers are. They may not say it to her face but they will talk about it, even the guys to somewhat. Of course the guys might say she's hot. I suggest you Google phrases that give people assurance. Practice them to yourself so that when you do need a phrase it just rolls off your tongue easily and with confidence. Do better. I'm giving you a soft you are the asshole. Nah, there is a difficult balance between being truthful and being complimentary. I think you were fine until right before she was going to leave and you reminded her she didn't look good. I just don't think that was super nice. I don't think that you were an asshole there, but I can see how it hurt her feelings. Edit. All the people arguing for the op and against the wife and no one bothered to tell me I wrote compliment instead of compliment. Tisk, not the asshole. If this is abnormal behavior for her, just let it go. I can see this exchange happening between my husband and I if I were super stressed about a professional gig, especially if there's recent weight gain involved. Things can get touchy. I personally would come home and apologize for taking it out on him, but even if she doesn't, if this isn't something that has happened before or with any frequency, I would say she was a bit of an asshole but you weren't and it's NBD altogether. If she regularly treats you this way, that's worthy of a conversation. Nah, it sounds like she was just nervous. Am I the asshole for telling my adoptive parents I feel anger towards them? I-19F was adopted at birth. I don't know this until I was 17. I found out in the worst way possible. My grandpa was drunk and told me. I asked my parents and they confessed. They called me ungrateful for asking. After finding out I was adopted, a lot of things suddenly made sense. My parents' family often excluded me from things like family pictures and reunions. My mom would fight it, sometimes, but it wouldn't help. It felt like I never fit in. When I turned 18 I moved in with my roommate. She said it might be cool to find out who my biological parents are. I asked my parents and once again I get called ungrateful. I didn't know where to look from there. My roomie suggested one of those ancestry DNA tests to find a match. We did that and boom, I got into contact with my biological uncle via email and soon after that, phone. After that he told my biological mother about the situation. She freaked out. We met and it was an amazing experience. I love her and I want to make a point that this does not take away from the love I have for my adoptive parents. I just hate how they covered it up. I got to meet the rest of my bio family as well. Since my parents treated me as ungrateful for asking questions about my biological family, I didn't tell them. I did, however, recognize that I would need to tell them eventually. I knew they would be angry but it had to happen. I visit them every so often. Keeping this secret from them was starting to make me feel guilty so I decided to tell them yesterday. I texted my mom asking if I could come over for dinner. She said yes and I had a conversation with them with all my siblings present. This made me uncomfortable but if my parents found out, they would find out as well. It all started well. My dad stated how she was happy to see me come over to eat with them. Well, a few minutes later I told them. Their initial reaction was one of shock. My mom asked my siblings to go to their room so she and my father could talk to me alone. To my surprise, they weren't angry. They asked me why I did it. I told them the truth. Curiosity got the best of me. I thought my blood was theirs for 17 years, and when I found out it wasn't, I had to find out where it comes from. They asked in what way could I forget everything they did for me and that family is more than blood connections. I told them I didn't forget. I was just angry at them for hiding the fact from me. My biological parents gave me up because they were poor and lived in a rural area with little opportunity for them. That actually made me more grateful for my parents. My mom got really offended by this. How I could feel anger towards her was incomprehensible for her and my father. I told them it's best I should leave. My mom told not to come back until I learned some gratitude and learned to appreciate family. I'm sorry for any typing mistakes I made. I'm typing this at night and this is a stressful situation. Am I the asshole? Not the asshole. When people adopt, the idea is that the child is treated exactly as their own. By allowing the extended family members to mistreat you, they did not do right by you, and I expect they know this. You were also wronged by the secrecy around the adoption. You are not being ungrateful by doing what most adopted children think of doing. Blood relatives are a mystery in most families, but for adopted ones, it's magnified. Please don't feel guilty. Not the asshole. I am an adoptive mother myself. No parent, adoptive or otherwise, is ever owed anything from their children. That includes gratitude. And the fact that you have a problem with something they did in no way erases any gratitude you may feel, and clearly you do as you stated as such. To me, this speaks of some difficulty in emotional regulation on her part. Her reaction was terrible, but unsurprising coming from someone that hid such a fundamental thing from their child for so long. I am sorry you have to go through this. Just know you did nothing wrong here. With all of the other stress this has caused you, please do not let worries about that take root. Your mother wronged you and cannot face that. That's not on you. Wow, you found out at 17? That's wild. Not the asshole. Of course you're curious. Your parents sound unreasonable. I hope they calm down with time. Not the asshole. I recommend trying to find adoptee advocacy groups to help you meet people in similar situations. Many of these groups talk about the toxic nature of the grateful adoptee narrative. Not the asshole. I would be pretty upset at people who lied to me for 17 years and allowed family members to mistreat me. Being grateful doesn't mean being a doormat. She said not to come back until you can appreciate family? Ouch. Please get therapy. This is really hard and above Reddit's pay grade. Emo, you did absolutely nothing wrong. Am I the asshole for grounding my 14-year-old son for going skinny dipping? I, 35F, went to visit my friend, 37F, last week and I took my son, 14M, with me. My friend has a swimming pool and my son brought his swim trunks with him in case he decided to swim. My friend has two daughters, 13F and 14F. My son and my friend's daughters said they were going to swim in the pool, but when me and my friend looked out the window we saw the three of them completely naked in the pool. I grounded my son and forbade him from using his phone and Nintendo Switch. My husband thinks I overreacted. Am I the asshole? All three of them should be grounded for being too stupid to wait until the olds were in bed or out of the house before going skinny dipping. Kids these days, I swear. You are the asshole. The correct punishment for this is sitting through a long conversation with your parents about sex and puberty. Optionally, this could be followed a written essay about the importance of consent and safe sex. Finally, there should be a practical lab, involving putting a condom on a banana. You probably did overreact. Come at it calmly and they'll learn better. Check your own discomfort before you have the conversation so you don't feel triggered and overreact more. The relevant class one took like a decade ago says the only thing you are teaching him is that nudity is shameful, and to hide anything remotely touching on sexuality from you. If that class is to be believed, I suppose you are the asshole. But I get it. You are the asshole. Just because you have hang-ups you should transfer those to your child. I am 61 and love skinny dipping. I've done it since I was probably around 12. It has nothing to do with sex. Swimming feels better without a bathing suit. Maybe you should try it and lighten up a bit. I'm leading towards you are the asshole. Depends on how long you grounded him for. Yes, what he did was stupid and he shouldn't have done it. But it wasn't malicious or creepy. Presumably he did it at the suggestions of the girls. At the very least they were on board with it. Nobody got hurt. It's not like they were making out. Making him stop what he was doing is fine. Talking to him about it is a good idea. Punishing him over it seems a bit much, especially if we are on the scale of days or weeks. Would I be the asshole to ask my dog walker to contribute to emergency vet bills? Hi, am I the asshole? I have a 5-year-old cardigan corgi. He's an absolute unit, and as my friends say, he's high in strength, constitution and low in intelligence, wisdom. He often tries to eat things that aren't safe for him. I live alone and hired a dog walker the first found on Rover to visit him once a day during the work week. Instead of going through the app, I agreed to pay her in cash. She's generally been great, but we've had a few mishaps like her not telling me when my dog ate and tore up a wooden hand fan. I've given her the benefit of the doubt because my dog loves her and enjoys his walks with her. Last night, my dog vomited up 5 or so partially chewed, large bright orange seeds. They are from the Kunti plant and are in the same family as sago palms, which can be fatally toxic to dogs even in small amounts. Unfortunately, they are part of the landscape in my dog-friendly apartment complex. I decided not to wait it out and took my dog to the emergency vet. They admitted him to critical care because the risk of him deteriorating was so high, even though he was in good spirits when I left him. I messaged my dog walker to let her know what happened, and she insists she never saw him eat the seeds and that she tries to prevent him from eating things on the ground. I know he did not eat the seeds on my watch, because I exclusively took him to the turf-only dog park yesterday, which isn't near the toxic plants. This emergency vet visit is costing thousands of dollars. I haven't brought up the cost to her yet, but would I be the asshole to request that she contributes to this huge expense? I get it's my dog, but also I have never let this happen on my watch. I understand it was likely an honest mistake, but also I feel as though it's really irresponsible to let someone's dog eat random things off the ground, especially if you aren't paying close attention. Edit. Thanks everyone for your feedback. I will absolutely accept that I would be the asshole if I asked my walker to contribute to my vet bills. I had several people in my life reach out and suggest I ask, hence this post. I will not be asking her to pay. I will, however, invest in good pet insurance and will only pay dog walkers through Rover from now on. I will clarify a few things for the sake of this post. Yes, I pointed out the unsafe area. Yes, she knows he will eat things off the ground, but she also knows he is trained and responsive to several commands including, leave it, drop it, and wait. This plant is only in specific parts of the complex, which are easily avoidable. Yes, multiple sources have confirmed this was a life-threatening situation for my dog due to what was ingested. Edit Part 2. Electric Boogaloo. Thank you again for everyone's feedback. My Hoover of a dog is doing okay, his labs look good and hopefully he's coming home soon. A few more things I'll add. I will absolutely be investing in a muzzle. Like some of you have suggested, it might be worthwhile to invest in a more vetted walker, instead of Rover. I am very blessed, and my low rider unit of a dog's bills are paid, yes, by some of the very people who asked whether I was going to ask my current walker for compensation. I walked my apartment complex's property this morning. On the very far side of my building, there is a line of these palms that were apparently just trimmed, and there are huge piles of the seeds all lined up. Dog walker admitted to letting my Dyson dog sniff the seeds, so woman shrugging it's a moot point because there are lots of things I will do moving forward to prevent this from happening again. Boy, I'm dense. I genuinely don't know why I didn't think of a muzzle in the first place. I've used things like grazing muzzles for my horses before. Medical scares and renewed agency are one hell of a drug. I do want to say, I've truly been trying my best. I came here for feedback, and I got what I needed to move forward and keep my dumb dog safe. Reddit gives me tough love, and even when it stings, I'm grateful. I talked to the front office staff about the plans. If anything, maybe some signs can be posted. Haha, you are the asshole, you are the asshole, you are the asshole. You have zero proof that she was negligent here, and you describe the dog as persistently having this bad behavior. Yet you choose to live in a complex with substances around that can be fatal to your pet. You assumed that risk. You even stopped booking via the official service that may be able to help pay for things in case of an accident, rolling on the floor laughing. Typical irresponsible pet owner where everything that happens with their ill-trained animal is someone else's fault. Grow up and pay the bills yourself. YWBTA. I mean, you could ask, but I personally would tell you no and never walk your dog again. Dogs can eat things super quick. I am not surprised she didn't see a thing, especially since the hazard are part of the area you live in. Also, you had to get to the turf park. The dog may have ate them then on your watch. YWBTA, and you will most likely lose this person from your contacts as a dog walker or otherwise. She told you she never saw him eat anything and she actively is preventing it. You asking her to pay part of the bills is saying she lied and this is her fault. You say it yourself that the plants are all around your apartment complex, and while you say you took him to the turf-only dog park, you had to go from out your complex to get there. You sound certain it would have never happened on your watch. This means it has to be her fault. Did your vet confirm the seeds were the toxic and your dog's life was actually in danger? YWB the asshole. I don't think you're the worst person in the world to ask, but I don't think the walker did this on purpose. I think the real problem is not going through the app to help in these situations and also not having pet insurance. Pet insurance is so important and everyone should have it for specifically this case. I'd definitely not keep the dog walker, but I think you're on your own for the bills. You are the asshole, your dog, your vet bills. For context, when boarding pets, it's standard practice here to sign an agreement that any vet treatment required is still your responsibility. And when I have had pet sitters, some have also explicitly stated this up front. The others didn't, but weren't running a proper business. If you don't trust them to properly care for your dog, you should find someone else, but they don't have any financial responsibility for this. YWBTA. Although you know where these plants grow in your complex, and that the seeds don't travel far by their own agency, you don't know whether seeds could have been scattered around by a kid playing with them, or even placed at the dog park deliberately by someone who hates dogs. You are assuming facts that aren't provable.